This is Chris Heyman for the group presentation of New Jersey Tiered System of Supports with Daniela, Janelle, Tiffany, and myself. Our topic was the New Jersey Tiered System of Supports. What is it? Its abbreviation is NJTSS. It's a multi-tiered support system that works to support all students and their needs within schools in New Jersey. This system is based off of MTSS and builds on both RTI and I&RS. Who uses it? Schools use NJTSS to effectively support and educate all students. School admin and teachers meet regularly and approach instruction and interventions in a collaborative manner. Why were they created? They were created for a structured, consistent approach to prevention, intervention, and enrichment. It continues to support student learning of grade-level knowledge and skills, and it also improves my effectiveness as a teacher. It encourages professional learning communities as a vehicle for problem-solving and professional development, and improve postgraduate success. The breakdown of it. NJTSS includes the supports of both RTI and I&RS. NJTSS consists of three main components that are always working at each tier. The first is district and school leadership. The second is family and community engagement. And the third is positive school culture and climate. I can speak on my behalf. At Fairfield Township School, we have been trying, and I think effective to a point, on all three tiers here. We have a very strong leadership with our administration. As of the past few years or so, we have been getting our community and family more involved with school activities, school programs, and we've been reaching out. We just had a booster-thon at our school that included a fun run to raise money for the school and for the student fundraiser. And last, we have a program called Positive Action to promote positive school culture and norms. Let's learn more about what has influenced the tiers of NJTSS by taking a closer look at MTSS. Multi-tiered system of supports is what MTSS stands for, and it is a tiered system of supports. Along with RTI, MTSS focuses on social, emotional, and behavioral supports. It has positive behavior intervention and supports, or PBIS, which you can see part of the umbrella is all part of the umbrella. Teacher professional development, family, school, and community collaboration supports, curriculum design, and administrators and school psychologists working as problem solvers. All of this falls underneath the umbrella of MTSS as shown in the picture in this slide. NJTSS incorporates both RTI and I&RS. Let's take a closer look at what these consist of. RTI stands for Response to Intervention. On the right, you can see the picture of the three tiers that are included in RTI. RTI was written into law with the 2004 reauthorization of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or also known as IDEA. It is intended to provide individual children with classroom-based interventions using ongoing assessment information and input from teachers and families. So let's break down the tiers. Tier 1 is the basic core classroom instruction. This is what every single student receives in the classroom. Typically is successful with 80 to 90% of the students in the classroom. Now, Tier 2 is for students who need extra support after Tier 1, who don't quite get the lesson at hand. So they're not meeting their grade level benchmarks, and they're not understanding the lesson at hand, so they go into a small group instruction to receive additional support. And this is during classroom time as well. This usually represents 10 to 15% of the class. Tier 3 is when it's more intensive support, more interventions are needed, and it's more personalized, more individualized plan around that one student who still is not grasping the lesson at hand. This usually represents 1 to 5% of the student population. Intervention and Referral Services is INRS, and it is a team of educators and support professionals within the school environment working together throughout the school year to forge coordinated services and team delivery systems to address the full range of needs in both the general education and special education programs. So what this is if a teacher identifies a student who is not meeting their benchmarks, who is not at grade level, they can, and the teacher has done interventions, has done accommodations, has done modifications, the teacher can refer the student for an evaluation, and then the they will refer the teacher to more modifications, more interventions for the student, and then the ball will get rolling to see if the student has a disability, if it needs the CS team referral, and so on. Excuse me. This is a diagram of the multi-tiered support system of supports, or the NJTSS. It first is what we said, the first three things: the school, climate, culture, the community engagement, and then it goes to RTI, and then our INRS. Let's take a look at all these systems and components make up NJTSS. Here's another diagram of the tier overview. We've seen this image a couple of slides ago. You can see tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1, let's break it down, refers to a high-quality core instruction and addresses the needs of most students. All students in Tier 1 are assessed in literacy and no less than 2 times per year. Results are used to identify students who are on track and those at risk. School-wide behavioral expectations are established and maintained through character education programs and initiatives. Instruction is differentiated. Students may provide examples of learning in various ways. An example is, we're going to use Jenny as an example. She is a general education student currently in Tier 1. She is having trouble reading, as found by literacy assessments. She frequently gets up during class and is unable to focus. The teacher has differentiated her instruction to help her by allowing her to use a standing desk. She also allows Jenny to demonstrate reading comprehension through her musical intelligence and chooses books that she will be interested in. Moving on to Tier 2. This includes the core instruction provided in Tier 1 as well as supplemental supports and interventions. Students may receive small group instruction or tutoring. Limited but effective supports are provided to correct academic skill shortfalls and reduce behavior problems to help students succeed in the general education classroom. Additional supports may be provided. A student with an IEP may continue to receive instruction in the general education classroom with supports. So Tier 2, like I said earlier, is if the student is struggling in the Tier 1 general lesson of the classroom, that he or she may go to Tier 2 and receive small group instruction, more modifications, more interventions. So Jenny again. Jenny's behavior struggles were fixed with Tier 1 supports. After a literacy assessment result, Jenny was seen to still be struggling with Tier 1 supports in reading. So she was moved to Tier 2. And like I said, she still receives Tier 1 instruction with the general classroom, but then also receives Tier 2 supports. She visits a basic skills teacher for reading help in a small group, and is still completing assessments for progress monitoring. Tier 3 includes the practices described in Tiers 1 and 2 and is identified by an increase in the length of time, duration, or frequency of the intervention. It is longer and more frequent than Tier 2. Interventions and supports are delivered after core instruction, suited for student who is not making sufficient progress with Tier 2 supports. Students may receive Tier 2 or Tier 3 interventions in one academic area but not another, and may move in and out of interventions throughout the year. So once a student is in Tier 2 or Tier 3, they're not stuck there for the whole entire year. He or she may progress back into Tier 2 and then back into Tier 1. So Tier 3 with Jenny. After a literacy assessment result, Jenny was seen to still be struggling with Tier 2 supports, so she was moved into Tier 3 instruction, which is a more individualized plan. She still receives Tier 1 and Tier 2 instruction and supports, but also now gets Tier 3 supports. And this includes one-on-one reading instruction from a professional. And she completes more frequent progress monitoring. At each of these tiers, NJTSS implements 3 main components: district and school leadership, family and community engagement, and positive school culture and climate. Let's take a closer look at these 3 components. District and school leadership. District and building leadership teams with representation from admin, staff, students, families, and community partners meet regularly about instruction and interventions. Clear district and school vision along with mission statements that are developed collaboratively by the leadership teams. In my school, like I said, we have positive action, and so we want to implement a school-wide culture of positive actions, create positive feelings, create positive thoughts in the full circle. Flexibility, scheduling students and staff to ensure student access to small group interventions as well as instruction. Supportive leadership styles that fosters effective teachers with diverse backgrounds. Family and community engagement. Involvement of families and community partners in both the development and implementation of the school's vision and mission. The more active the parents and families are in the school and with their child's lives creates a more positive culture within the school. Identification of strategies and resources to accommodate cultural and language differences, linking families, staff, and students to appropriate service providers and community partners. And lastly, being respectful of cultures, fostering communication, and scheduling of intervention planning meetings to foster meaningful parent participation. Excuse me. Positive school culture and climate. Providing a clean, safe, welcoming, and an all-accessible environment. Every student should feel safe. Every student should feel welcome. No one should feel excluded. That is the goal of this positive school culture and climate. There's clear expectations and transitions and routines. Instruction focuses on school norms, building relationships, and clear behavior expectations. We have 5 rules in my school off the top of my head. I can't remember, but you have the right to hurt anyone. Always do your best. Represent you, your school, and your team in a positive manner. And there are 2 more. I can't remember off the top of my head, though. We bring it all together back here. NJTSS is a multi-tiered system of supports that builds on both RTI and INRS and incorporates district and school leadership, family and community engagement, and positive school culture and climate at all tiers. Frequently asked questions. First, what extra supports is my child receiving at Tier 3? What if my child is not responding? First question. They receive an individualized plan. So the teacher will make a own plan for that one student when they're in Tier 3. There will be progression-based assessments that is content-based. Teacher will help student build their academic foundation. Parent help at home is huge. Teacher will provide resources for the parent to help the student at home, whether it's reading, math, whatever. If none of that works, the teacher can refer the student for INRS. Does my child need an official evaluation for a disability to receive basic skills instruction? That is a no. The teacher can provide basic skills instruction in the classroom by interventions, modifications, support, manipulatives. None of these require the student to have a disability. Can my child move up and down in tiers as they progress or regress? Yes, children can be transitioned to different tiers based on their abilities and needs at a time. Example, student is generally in Tier 1, however struggling to master current lesson, so needs Tier 2 supports and modifications. Here are some resources for the parents.